GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, Montreal. I'm Mark Beaumont. Tonight we sit down with former MNA Vincent Marisol on his independent path, hear why the city's general manager stepped down with $1 million+ severance and a severe thunderstorm watch rolling in. Traffic is light with only minor delays. Over to you, Emma.
The Milan Street Art Festival opens this Friday on Saint Laurent, showcasing 30 muralists, live jazz performances, and a rotating food truck lineup for the weekend.
The event runs from Friday evening until Sunday night with nightly mural unveilings at 7 p.m. and a community art workshop at 2 p.m. Saturday.
Admission is free, supported by the Milan Business Association, and a special guided tour for families will begin at 11 a.m. Sunday, featuring local historians.
The City Park will host a pop-up garden tonight, and tickets for the upcoming summer concert series become available tomorrow. All right, let's get into it. Tonight we dive into the headlines shaping Montreal, from community triumphs to the challenges ahead, bringing clarity and perspective to your evening. Vincent Marisol sat down with CBC Montreal's Sean Henry today to talk about life as an independent member of the Quebec National Assembly and what lies ahead now that he's preparing to step away from politics. The Rosemont area MNA, who was first elected under a party banner, explained that sitting alone in the legislature means juggling every vote and committee assignment without the support of a caucus. He said the experience has sharpened his focus on the needs of his constituents, even as he plans to return to community work and private consulting after his term ends. Marisol also reflected on the personal toll of constant negotiation, noting that independence offers both freedom and responsibility. He thanked his voters for their trust and hinted that he will stay involved in local initiatives, especially around affordable housing and youth programs.
City officials confirmed today that General Manager Benoit Dagenais has stepped down, triggering a severance package that exceeds $1 million. The departure is part of a broader senior management reshuffle announced by Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada's administration. Former Deputy Alain Dufort has been named to fill the vacant top executive role, taking over day-to-day operations of the municipal bureaucracy. City council members said the transition aims to maintain continuity while the mayor's team implements its new strategic priorities. Dagenais's compensation package, detailed in the city's public accounts, will be paid out over the coming months. The appointment of Dufort, who previously served as Dagenais's deputy, marks the latest move in the mayor's effort to realign leadership across municipal departments. The change arrives as the municipality works through major transit upgrades and a citywide housing review. City staff expect Dufort to steer those efforts while reporting directly to the mayor's office.
The province has announced that the Quebec Experience program will reopen for a 2-year window, with new applications accepted starting July 2. Minister François Bonnardel of the Quebec Immigration Ministry said the fast-track pathway, which targets foreign graduates and skilled workers already in the province, will again offer a streamlined route to permanent residence. Applicants will need to meet the program's language and employment criteria just as before and will benefit from reduced processing times. The reopening follows a pause earlier this year, and officials expect the renewed intake to help fill labor shortages across key sectors. Those interested can begin preparing their files now as the portal goes live on the 1st of July. The 2-year period runs through next year, giving candidates time to complete documentation. The ministry noted the PEQ has long been one of the quickest routes to Quebec residency.
Today, a new doorway opened on the Canadian side of the historic library that sits directly on the Quebec-Vermont border. The addition lets Canadian visitors walk straight into the building after U.S. authorities limited entry to the U.S. portion last year. Officials said the separate entrance was built to restore full public access for residents of the province, whose side of the structure had been effectively closed. The library's unique layout places rooms and collections in both countries, and before the new portal only the American side could be entered. Construction of the Canadian portal was completed over the past several months, and staff say regular traffic will resume without the previous cross-border checks. The change marks the first time since the restrictions that Canadians can enter the library without first passing through U.S. customs.
About 1,000 demonstrators gathered on Parliament Hill today to voice opposition to the proposed high-speed rail corridor linking Quebec City and Toronto. The crowd, organized by several citizen groups, marched along the historic lawns chanting slogans and holding signs that warned of environmental impact, cost overruns, and regional disruption. Police reported the assembly remained peaceful, though traffic on nearby streets was briefly rerouted. The high-speed rail plan, still in the discussion phase, has sparked criticism as officials move toward detailed construction talks. Critics argue the project could divert funds from local transit improvements and raise concerns about the line's route through sensitive communities. Government representatives on the Hill declined to comment, citing ongoing negotiations. The rally marks the latest public pushback as the federal-provincial partnership presses forward with the Cross-Province Transportation Initiative. Later, we'll break down the severe thunderstorm watch over parts of Quebec and what it means for your weekend. We will be right back. Welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us. Now let's turn to Emma Leclerc for the local stories shaping our community tonight.
Good evening. The Quebec Auditor General has issued a formal censure of the provincial government over its management of the emerging battery industry. The audit, released on June 10th, found that the province's strategy was poorly planned despite the presence of significant operational and environmental risks. Officials had been promoting the development of a battery manufacturing sector, yet the oversight framework was judged insufficient to address the complex challenges involved. The report highlights gaps in coordination, risk assessment, and long-term planning, calling into question the effectiveness of current policies. The government has been asked to revise its approach and strengthen supervision to protect both investors and the public. As the sector promises new jobs and economic growth, the report says clearer governance is required before additional projects proceed. Stakeholders will be watching the next steps closely.
The Parti Québécois announced on June 10th it intends to pull Quebec out of the high-speed rail project that has been under federal and provincial review for months. Party leaders said the plan's price tag far exceeds the advantages it would bring, describing the venture as financially untenable. Officials from the province have been weighing feasibility and funding, but the party's motion seeks a formal withdrawal before any contracts are signed. Critics of the proposal have warned that the cost could strain budgets already stretched by other priorities. Supporters of the rail line argue it could improve inter-regional travel and create jobs, yet the Parti Québécois says the projected benefits do not justify the expense. The move adds a new layer of debate as authorities continue to assess the project's future.
The federal transport minister announced today that Ottawa will not provide a $90 billion cost ceiling for the proposed high-speed rail linking Quebec and Toronto. The decision comes as the private consortium Alto seeks a firm budget limit for the line, which estimates total expenses could reach $90 billion. Without a guaranteed cap, the project's financing remains uncertain, and discussions between the federal government and the private partners are expected to continue. Officials said the stance reflects concerns over fiscal responsibility and the scale of the undertaking. Stakeholders in both provinces will now need to explore alternative funding arrangements if the rail corridor is to move forward. The minister said the decision was taken on June 10th and that any future guarantee would depend on detailed cost reviews. Planners had expected the line to cut travel time dramatically, but the timeline now remains uncertain.
A severe thunderstorm watch has been activated across multiple sectors of Quebec for this afternoon and evening. Meteorologists warn that atmospheric conditions are aligning to produce strong gusts, intense rainfall, frequent lightning, and the potential for hail. The watch means that residents should remain alert for rapid changes in weather and be prepared for possible power disruptions or localized flooding. Emergency services are on standby to respond to any incidents that may arise as storms develop. Drivers are advised to monitor road conditions, as sudden downpours can reduce visibility and create slippery surfaces. Outdoor workers and anyone planning activities later today are encouraged to keep an eye on updates from weather agencies. This heightened vigilance aims to reduce risk and protect the safety of families and businesses throughout the affected areas.
Martin Imblot, the president and chief executive of Alto, stood firm on June 10th when he addressed criticism of the proposed high-speed rail line linking Quebec City and Toronto. Opponents from the Parti Québécois and the Bloc Québécois have warned that the project's budget has more than doubled, now estimated at roughly $200 billion, far above the original forecast. Imblot reiterated that the chosen corridor remains the most efficient option for connecting the two provinces, emphasizing the long-term benefits for passengers and freight. He said the design has been reviewed by independent engineers and that the cost increase reflects expanded scope rather than unnecessary spending. The debate continues to dominate the political arena as parties weigh the financial implications against the promise of faster inter-provincial travel. Commuters anticipate travel times cut to under 3 hours, a change that could reshape daily routines.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's skies have in store for us.
Tonight's weather picture brings a gentle evening, perfect for a stroll or a relaxed dinner. On this day in Montreal history, the mercury once climbed to a sizzling 30 degrees in 2019, a peak that arrived during a lingering heat wave across the province. The coldest mark for June 10th was a brisk 8.1 degrees set back in 2016, when an unusual Arctic dip sent a chill through the city. By contrast, our climate normals for early June usually sit between 26 and 29 degrees, making today's high feel right on the warm side, while the low remains comfortably mild. Right now at 6 p.m., the city sits under mostly cloudy skies with a temperature of 28 degrees, humidity at 51%, and a gentle 6 km/h breeze from the south. The UV index is 7, so if you're heading out later, a light sunscreen is wise. Tonight will hold steady at 26 degrees with overcast cover, and the wind will remain modest. No rain is expected through the evening, but a yellow watch for severe thunderstorm watches the island, so keep an eye on any sudden gusts or lightning. As the night deepens, temperatures will dip to 19 degrees, setting the stage for a calm tomorrow. Looking ahead, Thursday brings a high of 27 degrees and a low of 21 under an overcast veil, keeping the day comfortably mild. Friday nudges up to 29 degrees at its peak, but a 45% chance of rain adds a splash of drama, while the low will dip to 18. Saturday brightens with a clear sky, highs of 25 and lows of 18, perfect for outdoor plans. Sunday returns a touch of moisture, light rain expected with a 55% likelihood, temperatures holding at 25 for the high and 15 for the low, a gentle reminder to carry an umbrella. Finally, Monday settles into a cooler rhythm, high 20 and low 15 under overcast conditions, offering a quiet end to the week. Stay cozy and enjoy the varied week ahead.
Stay tuned for traffic updates, a look at the Chamber Spotlight on Clerk AI's Montreal hub plus sports highlights. We will be right back.
The biggest disruption right now is the reduced height clearance in the Louis-Hippolyte Lafontaine Tunnel. Tall trucks and buses are being diverted to Boulevard St. Laurent, Rue Saint-Denis and the nearby Autoroute 6 access points. Drivers of standard vehicles should still be able to pass, but expect a few slow-moving lanes as traffic adjusts. All other major corridors, Autoroute 6, Boulevard St. Laurent, Rue Saint-Arbrook and the downtown core, are reporting smooth flow with only minor delays. On the transit side, the STM is operating a limited schedule. Service runs only during the morning and evening rush periods and late at night, leaving a gap in midday frequency on several bus routes and on the orange and green lines. Riders should anticipate longer wait times and consider alternate routes or earlier departures. Overall, the network remains largely open, but keep an eye on the tunnel detour and the reduced transit frequency this afternoon.
There are no verified listings available for today. And now here's Jason with sports.
Big hardware and a playoff exit, here is where the Canadiens stand. Double recognition for the Canadiens at the NHL Awards. Captain Nick Suzuki has won the Frank J. Selk Trophy for defensive excellence, while Cole Caulfield took home the Lady Byng Trophy. The NHL made both announcements last Friday, according to CBC Sports. The Canadiens' playoff run is over. Carolina eliminated Montreal in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, with Logan Stankoven scoring one of 3 Hurricanes' first-period goals. Carolina advances to the Stanley Cup Final, according to CBC Sports. An emotional goodbye in Montreal. Brendan Gallagher, described by CBC Sports NHL as the longest-serving Canadian, announced he is moving on from the only NHL franchise he has ever known. Gallagher said it is time to, quote, find a new home, closing the chapter on a lengthy career in blue, Blanquette Rouge.
Clerk AI, the AI-driven messaging platform, is planting its first international engineering hub in downtown Montreal. The new center will bring about 15 local talent together to build the next generation of conversational AI agents, marking the company's inaugural expansion beyond its U.S. roots. Montreal was chosen for its deep pool of technology expertise and the rapid growth of the city's AI ecosystem, and the hub promises to create high-skilled jobs that will ripple through the Ville Marie neighborhood. This investment signals confidence in the city's innovative spirit, and it gives Montrealers a front-row seat in shaping how people converse with machines. That's why Clerk AI matters to the future of our community. And later, we'll share the tale of the Canadian entrance opening at the border-straddling library, a story that brings us together. On St. Laurent Boulevard, the neon lights of the Plateau's popular lounge flickered as the evening crowd gathered for music and laughter. When a sudden report of a gunshot rippled through the venue, the atmosphere shifted, but what followed reminded us why Montreal's heart beats so steadily. Police arrived within minutes, their presence calm and purposeful, and within the hour a 27-year-old suspect was taken into custody, his arrest a clear sign that the city's protectors are vigilant. The two women who were hurt received swift medical care at a nearby hospital. Their smiles returned as they recounted the kindness of strangers who offered water, blankets, and steady reassurance while they waited. A bartender, remembering a similar night years ago, handed out warm cups of tea, and a regular patron stayed by the door, keeping the lights on until the police cleared the space. Tonight's story isn't just about a frightening moment, it's about a community that rallies, that looks after one another, and that turns a dark flash into a reminder of our shared compassion. In Montreal, we keep watching out for each other.
On a crisp Saturday morning in the heart of downtown, the Ville Marie tunnel's eastbound ramps at Rue de la Cathédrale, Rue Notre Dame and Boulevard Robert Bourassa were quietly sealed off, a decision announced by the provincial transport ministry. Commuters in their cars, cyclists on their bikes, and the neighborhood baker on the corner all felt the shift at once. As the last barrier lowered, a street violinist on Rue Notre Dame began a lilting melody that drifted through the tunnel entrance, while the baker, Madame Lefevre, slipped fresh croissants into the hands of drivers waiting in the lane. A group of local cyclists, led by a teenage rider named Maya, seized the moment to open a pop-up bike lane that wound through the closed ramps, turning what could have been a traffic jam into a spontaneous street festival. Children laughed, neighbors chatted, and the downtown rhythm slowed just enough for people to notice each other. It's moments like these that remind us how a city can pause, adapt, and keep moving forward together.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us this evening. From the nearly 1,000 protesters gathering on Parliament Hill to the latest developments on the high-speed rail, we've covered a lot. Stay tuned for tomorrow's stories, and as always, we look forward to bringing you the news that matters.